We'll call the regular City Council meeting to order November 4th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. We do have a quorum. All council is present. We will say the Pledge of Allegiance and pledge to the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Okay, we will open up with item number 3, public hearing, joint public hearing with the Clear Lake Shores City Council and the Clear Lake Shores Planning and Zoning Commission to discuss amendments to the zoning ordinances, article noise, fence, and green space. Would anybody like to address the council about any of these items? Please go to the microphone. I will say, I have a note here from my boss sitting to my right. Please speak into the microphone. And if we can't hear him, we need to tell him to get into the microphone, because it's hard to get some of the minutes, because from there to what she's recording it on, it gets a little faint. It's on. Just get close to it.
You can hear me okay?
Yes, that's good.
Okay.
Thank you, Steve.
Steve Wirtis, 914 Birch Road.
Stay on it.
Recently I attended the planning and zoning meeting, and many folks, neighbors along these first two streets here, Birch and Cedar, as well as neighbors on West Shore and East Shore, and even throughout the interior of the neighborhood, voiced their concerns. We appreciate the fact that the planning and zoning personnel volunteers listened to our voice, and they made a recommendation of not to make any changes to the current noise levels. I'd also like to state, I for one, and I'm sure there's going to be some others that are going to come up and speak as well, we don't think it's a good idea to change the noise levels. I'm not sure who it's intended to benefit. I hear tale that it's got to do with the bars and their music. I hear tale it's got to do with lawnmowers. If it's got to do with lawnmowers, then please let's address that as a specific item. But with regard to me living right across the street, I am the recipient of, it's been good the last week and a half. Maybe it's because of the weather change, maybe because the owners of the businesses are getting a hint that there's plenty of people that are very irritated with their perceived lack of respect for the community. I'd like to see this neighborhood retain a neighborhood environment. When I moved here, I think we had 2 bars. Now we've got, 5? I'm not sure, what do we need, 5 or 10 more bars? I'm not sure what is driving all this. But bottom line is, in my opinion, I don't believe that the present noise levels are being enforced, or at least not enforced consistently. A week ago Saturday, I was on my balcony measuring 67 decibels. They say that special events are exempt. I understand that. But let's not make every weekend a special event someplace. I have no issues whatsoever at Jarbo. They seem to be very respectful when you all have parties and concerts there. They close the doors off. The noise seems to go the other direction. You do hear a little bit, but it's not to a point where it's offensive. I have also made the point during the planning and zoning meeting. Personally, I have argued twice before the Galveston County Appraisal District and successfully won, showing proof of the noise levels over here having an adverse effect on my property value. Is that me or somebody else? Okay. That's about it, I guess. The final item, I guess, would be, one of the points was made about the bars bringing in tax revenue for the city. I'd like to see exactly how much revenue in terms of percentages that they are bringing in. It's my opinion that the likes of Home Depot and Target are probably bringing in the lion's share of our tax revenue. And but I just wanted to say, go on record publicly stating that I emphatically am against changing our noise ordinance. Instead, let's enforce the rules we have. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Wirtis. I should have, go ahead, Thomas. I should have announced this before, but we are supposed to limit our comments to 3 minutes. That's what you heard. I didn't make that announcement. I apologize.
Thomas Holland, 207 East Shore. I just wanted to point out that I use a decibel meter sitting, 15 feet away, and the average was 55.5 decibel, and the maximum, while Steve was talking, was 67.6. Just FYI. So what we're talking about in the ordinance is, it's nowhere near. I mean, 50 is, my car isn't that quiet and idle when I sit inside.
All right. Thank you, Thomas. Anyone else would like to address the council about the noise ordinance? Yes, sir.
Nathan Snowden, 1020 Aspen. I would also voice my opposition to raising the noise ordinance. I've never complained, but I can sit on my porch and frequently, I'm hard of hearing and I have to wear hearing aids, and I just got them. But before that, I could sit on my porch and hear the lyrics to the songs. So it's loud enough. I've never complained about it. It usually stops late enough at night. It doesn't keep me up or anything, but I would agree with, if there are issues with them going too late, take care of that, but don't raise it any higher. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Anyone else would like to address council about the noise ordinance? Are you getting the names? Are they speaking?
Steve said there were going to be other people speaking. He was looking directly at me. And
Hold
in
on,
law
before-
enforcement,
hold
that's,
on,
that's
before
what
you
we call a
start.
clue.
Before you start, will you announce your name and
Gary
address?
Cunningham,
please?
910 Cedar. I live in the relatively new blue house that's a straight shot to all the bars. We had a very nice meeting with the Planning and Zoning Committee a few days ago. There were several very reasonable people that spoke primarily against increasing the decibel limit. A few people spoke in favor of it. I would just like to echo what Steve said. I would be opposed to raising the limit to 70. We spoke a little bit about the science of increasing it by 10 decibels. But if you will simply review the internet, you'll find 70 decibels is in the annoyance range. And that's what I would like to try to avoid. So I just ask for your consideration for what we've said, and thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, my name is Laura Broussard, and I live at 1115 North Shore. I just want to throw out an idea for everyone. While I was kind of, surfing the internet, I came across a company that sells directional speakers. And some of you may have experienced those if you're in a museum and you're standing in front of an exhibit. While you're standing in front of it, you can hear the audio. But if you step just one step over, you can't hear it. So directional speakers can, like a laser, focus in on where they want the sound to go. So they also have outdoor directional speakers that are more like a flashlight. So you could cover this whole audience with probably 2 or 3 speakers, and the sound won't go any further than where you've directed the sound to go. So I think that's a solution for the town center if the businesses would invest a little bit of money. They're not that expensive in these directional speakers. They can win, they can operate their business at will, and the residents don't have to listen to the noise. Now, I will say that yes, when you're on a microphone and you're talking, you might be at 65, but you probably don't want me in your house talking on a microphone for hours, right? So I would say we need to find solutions to reduce the noise at the town center, but still support the businesses at the same time and all of the residents' concerns.
Okay.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Did I see someone else about to get up? Were you about to get up?
Michael Bonas, 727 East Shore Drive, right down across from the pavilion. I spoke at the Planning and Zoning Commission a week ago or so. And I understand that, I guess my questions that I have to propose are, why are we even considering raising the decibel level from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m.? And I've been given the answer that it has to do with lawnmowers and people wanting to cut grass. I cannot say I've experienced that. I cannot say I've experienced 10 p.m. or 7 a.m. But that shouldn't be acceptable. Like, if one person's complaining about it, then it shouldn't be acceptable to be raising a limit like that. It just shouldn't be acceptable. And then I'd also like to know the other argument that is that my 29 seconds? Oh, wow. The other argument has been that the businesses need it to bring in business. We need to be worried about business, and we need to be bringing in business, so we want that loud. I would like to understand where the correlation between the loudness of the band and how much money I'm bringing in is on some chart. That would be nice to see some chart with that on, if it even exists, because I really don't think that correlation would exist. Selling alcohol and how much money we make would exist, but the loudness of the band and making money, I don't see how they correlate. But the 10 p.m. to 7 a.m., that should never be that loud. It shouldn't be that loud, and we should never be considering raising it. Like, we have to be up in arms about this, because that's unacceptable. 10 p.m., right, I'm retired now. As a teacher, I had to be up at 5:15 in the morning to get to my job, to be on time to my job. The bars over here played way later than that on Sunday nights. They're allowed to play till 12 and 1 o'clock in the morning. And when I can hear them inside my room when I was trying to sleep, when I had to go to job, that really was not fun. But that's got to be a consideration. It's not my consideration anymore, but other people are having to deal with this. And I don't understand how we're allowed to be that loud at 10 p.m. Because if I started playing my music that loud at 10 p.m., I think my neighbors would probably have something to say about it. Even if I were within the decibel limits, they would have something to say about it. And then one last point. Some of the I can't think of the word. The band on Halloween, and I know Steve said it wasn't bad. I heard it. I apologize. I heard it. My concern was we had extra kids on the island, and you had kids out, physically out. And the chorus to one of the songs that I could hear at my house on East Shore was, I hate you, I effing hate you. I hate you, I effing hate you. That was the chorus. He came back to that every 2 or 3, sung something, and then came back to that. How is that acceptable? Well, especially when we have kids on the island for Halloween. But there's no judgment. Judgment, that's it. Sorry, that's the word I was looking for. Poor judgment. To me, it's poor judgment. It's like poor judgment.
Okay, thank you.
Liz Snowden, 1020 Aspen. The one thing that I think, if you go to Aspen, if you go to Okies, if you go to Jackie's, if you go to Hulu, even if you're out on the patio, it's plenty loud when you're there. You can't even talk sometimes to your guests because it's already loud. It's loud enough. So why does it have to be louder?
Thank you. Man, they're coming in hot.
Hello, my name is Mike Pettit. I live at 718 Pine. And so this kind of feels like deja vu. I was up here a couple of weeks ago with the committee, and so I presume that that was taped as well, and those that wanted to review that meeting did, so I don't have to plow the same ground. But basically, so I don't think there was ever proven to be a need to up the sound noise level in this city. There's never been proven to be a need. It's more of a want. So why do we need this? So who is like complaining about loud lawnmowers, and what are the amount of complaints that you have? Is it one a week, one a year, one a month? So it may be insignificant. And if these lawnmowers are over that limit, then maybe something should be done, like have them go to electric lawnmower. So, but I don't know why we're going to up the decibel levels for a lawnmower.
Would anybody else like to address the council about the noise ordinance? Anyone else before we close that part of the hearing and move to the next item? Okay, so I'm going to make a couple comments. Chet, don't let them hurt me. So I did go watch the video because I couldn't be at the meeting. Mike had some surgery. He couldn't be there either, and I wanted him to see it, and I wanted to put it out to the people who couldn't make the planning and zoning meeting. So I got a few things out of that meeting. I understand the music's loud. I get it. This was never brought to our attention over just one lawnmower. There was one comment made that our city administrator made to me was, according to our ordinance, if you fire up your lawnmower on a Sunday, you're breaking our noise ordinance. Okay? So you're welcome to go talk to Mike and David about that at some point so you can find out some of the truth behind that. It was never to make the bars louder. I will tell you one thing that I took out of that meeting was that if these bars are playing the music to 1 a.m., they're not supposed to be. So we do need to do a better job of policing that. That's one thing I got out of it. And if they're getting too loud...
Enforcing. Let's use the word enforcing.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said policing. You're right. Enforcing our ordinance. The other thing I got out of it was somebody was asking a question where they measure it. I believe it's measured on your closest point of the complainant's property to the direction of the noise. Is that not correct? And so I have since talked to all the business owners and proposed an idea to them. Chrissy doesn't know this yet, but we're going to purchase 2 perfectly good, brand new decibel meters for the PD that are calibratable. I have gotten a quote from a company who can calibrate them. They come calibrated, and they got to be calibrated every so often. I will tell you, I went to this location, and I did use the one on my phone, and it's not very far off. It's less than 2 decibels off when you listen to the one that they have. And so one of my proposals to the businesses were, why don't we test this? Why don't we have a decibel meter? You guys invest in a decibel meter. It's your music. You're putting it out. You invest in one. Turn up the music. We can come over here on this side of the island, and we can see what those decibels are at a certain level, and then you're going to know what you can tell your bands their maximum noise level is. I mean, it's simple. It's not real hard to do. But I got a lot of positive out of that. But I can assure you it's not one lawnmower. We do get a lot of complaints, and what fueled this was all the complaints about construction workers on Sunday. That's where this came from. We have noise, let me rephrase that. We have construction noise hours Monday through Friday. We have construction noise hours on Saturday. We don't have any on Sunday. That means you can't break the noise ordinance at any time on Sunday. Nothing. Driving a nail or holidays. Yeah,
And
the
that's
other exceptions.
contractors or homeowners. right?
And well, you can't really differentiate
Correct.
between contractors and homeowners. It's breaking the noise ordinance because we don't have a construction noise time on Sunday, so it's anyone. But you can't go tell a contractor you can't work if he's in the house painting or, doing anything outside that's not making enough noise to break the noise ordinance, because at that point, it doesn't matter who it is. If he's not breaking the noise ordinance, there's nothing we can do. And so we have got inundated with complaints about construction on Sunday. I mean, I don't mind telling you, I got a text message from our ex-mayor, hey, go tell those guys to shut it down. They can't work on Sunday. Well, you can't. Our ordinance doesn't say that. It doesn't say a contractor can't work. It just says he can't break the noise ordinance. So I believe that was set up because you don't want people driving pilings at 7 or 8 a.m. on a Sunday. So you have Monday through Friday and Saturday work hours. I think those work hours are correct. They've worked forever around here for a long time. I don't see any point to change that. We wanted to clarify more about the Sunday. So there's more in that ordinance. If you read past and got past the noise of the bars, there's more in that noise ordinance that protects the citizens on this side of the island from, let's say you have a neighbor that moves in and he's out there hammering and he wants to do woodwork every Sunday morning at 5:30. That's up to a $2,000 fine, depending on what the judge might fine you, and he's supposed to go write you a ticket. So if he goes out there and you're exceeding the noise ordinance, you're getting a ticket. And then you got to go fight with the judge about that. So I believe what Mike was trying to do in some of our conversations was maybe not raise it extraordinarily high, but we got to raise it some. Otherwise, you guys are not going to be happy when he starts writing tickets because you're running your lawnmower and he can prove that you're breaking the noise ordinance because your neighbor doesn't like you. That's where this came from. Sundays and the fact that, I will tell you, I've lived here 27 years. Someone sent me a picture the other day of this island in 2000. I can tell you there wasn't 2/3 of the houses here in 2000. So I'm no sound expert. But back when I looked at that picture, we had a lot more trees in this area, so we had a lot of cover that would dissipate sound. I look out at my neighbors. I used to have 4 lots this way and 4 lots this way before the next house. I look 5 feet over and there's a house, or 10 feet over, because we have a 5-foot setback, because people are trying to build the biggest possible house that they can. And we try to work with them too and allow them to do such. But that lawnmower that used to be 4 houses down that they couldn't hear, he's from me to Rick now. And he's mowing his grass at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm sitting outside trying to have a cup of coffee. We get those complaints. So they're legitimate complaints. The process to change the ordinance is how we started this. It has to go to planning and zoning. There is no hidden agenda behind it. I promise you, we don't want to write tickets. We don't have a quota in Clear Lake Shores to go write tickets to support the PD. We want to write fewer tickets, quite honestly. We don't want that attraction. We want people to come to our businesses. That's how we live. I understand what Clint was talking about when he made those comments at the meeting. You know, how often is this bothering people? But I will tell you, I have already reached out to the businesses, because if we're playing that music at those hours and we're playing it that loud, that's got to stop. And I think if we start there, that takes care of a lot of the problem up on the front of the island. We had to start the process because we can't change an ordinance without planning and zoning's approval. It has to go that direction. This conversation, input, all of that has to take place before we can do anything with it. So that's where it came from, just to be clear before we move on to the next ordinance. Does anyone have any questions for me about my comments before we move forward? Yes, Darlene.
Can we eliminate the...
Please speak here, because this is being recorded too.
He's going to ask about the 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. raising it.
Michael Bonas, East Shore Drive. Then can we eliminate the 10 p.m. to 7 a.m.? I mean, if somebody is actually cutting the grass at 5 a.m., they should probably get a ticket for that. Sorry.
I understand.
I mean, I apologize if it's somebody in here. I apologize, but if somebody is cutting the grass, that would, granted, the grass or somebody running a leaf blower is still a temporary issue. It still isn't going to last more than 20 or 30 minutes. I mean, with the size grass some people have, it lasts like 5-10 minutes max. So the bars don't, though. And when we're even talking about raising that from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m., I don't think that should be a conversation we should be having.
And yes, to answer your question, we will take that into consideration. These things, if I'm not mistaken, these things will not be voted on tonight. This is the second meeting we had. Mike will take a lot of these comments and we'll talk about those and we'll bring something back to council with all of those considerations in it. And then council will make a decision at the December meeting on those items. So yes, we will take all of these comments into consideration. Yes, ma'am.
Darlene Pettit, 718 Pine.
Hey, go write him a ticket. I'm sorry. I couldn't help. I had to say that.
But for real, I mean, that's what we're talking about right here, right? Like, is that what the expectation is?
I'm just saying, that's a little annoying.
It's
my
annoying,
question is you're talking about Sunday, so why don't we just change it for Sundays? Why do we have to do 7 days a week and then up everything? You're talking we can't do anything on Sunday. Let's adjust the ordinance for Sunday. We shouldn't have to blow up everybody's ears. You should be able to mow your lawn. You should be able to work on your home. We should not have contractors on the island on Sunday working exterior like doing pilings. I totally agree with that, and doing roofing. I totally agree with that. I mean, it used to be a blue law state until actually very recently. So, I mean, I remember moving here back in 1980, and when I went to the grocery store, I couldn't buy toilet paper on a Sunday, and I was like, why not? So, really, because it's a blue law state and you can only buy food on Sunday. But anyways, I don't know why it's a 7 days a week, 24-hour a day. If it's Sundays the issue, why aren't we adjusting Sundays?
Well, let me just mention to you, it's not just Sundays that we're getting complaints. It's after the business hours, too. So after your construction hours, after 5 p.m., 6 p.m., you still have people making that racket. So it's every day of the week after those hours that it's still an issue. Sunday's what prompted the conversations, but then when we looked into it, it's all the hours after that also, because that goes all the way up till 10 p.m. on a regular Monday through Friday.
Well,
so
I don't know a lot of people on this island that are out there pounding stuff at 9 and 10 p.m. because they're either up there drinking or they're all in bed. So, I mean, I'm just saying.
That's an assumption, Darlene. I will tell you, over here on Cedar, 5:30 in the morning, they started a roof. So, I understand. Any more comments on that portion of the ordinance?
Gary Cunningham, 910 Cedar. I came from another city, and I have a little experience in noise ordinances, sound ordinances. And I'm going to speak like a policeman. Enforcing decibel limits is inherently difficult. It's time-consuming. You have to have a calibrated meter, and often by the time the police can respond, the noise is already turned down. In another city, not far from here, we had a catch-all section in our sound ordinance that simply stated, regardless of any decibel limit specified in the code, any noise, any sound, with consideration for its character, intensity, or duration, if it annoyed someone of reasonable sensibility, it was a violation. It was, again, the catch-all.
Who decides that sensibility, though? Who gets to decide that?
The municipal court judge, if it comes to that.
So it's the same thing. You get the ticket and you go fight with the judge. It's the same exact thing.
And this takes into account the guy that's going to mow his yard every Sunday, right by your bedroom window. He doesn't have to mow on Sundays, but he's going to. Or he lets the lawnmower idle, cranks up the chainsaw, the weed blower, and just lets it sit there and idle because he can. Now, I know no one in Clear Lake Shores would do that, but it does happen.
How long have you lived here?
About 6 years. And I know my neighbor, if I was bothering Susan and Jeff, they'd just come over and I'd turn it down. It's just common decency. But again, I'd urge your consideration in leaving the ordinance as is. I'd be happy to work with Mike on polishing up the ordinance if I can. But anyway, that's all I have.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right. If no more comments about the noise ordinance, I think I stretched that out pretty long. We will move on to the fence ordinance, I believe is next in line. Would anybody like to address council about the fence ordinance?
Hi, it's me again, 718 Pine, Darlene Pettit. And the only reason I'm bringing it up is I understand the fence ordinance. I really don't have a problem with it. I have a question that needs to be addressed whenever y'all decide is, so the property I just bought, the house next to me, is exactly 3 feet taller. So if they put up a 6-foot fence, their fence is now 9 feet. So why can't I just put up a 9-foot fence when I build my fence so that I don't have to worry about seeing part of their fence over my fence?
So do you have to have your own fence? Just let them put the fence up.
Well, I doubt that
Save
they're
some
going
money.
to. I doubt that they're going to put a fence up. But really, what it boils down to is that my fence now is no longer a privacy fence because it's really only 3 feet on their side.
Okay. Anyone else? Are you clearing your throat?
I was
Did you want
just
to say
clearing my
something?
throat.
Okay.
It's all good.
I'm just asking. Anyone else have any comments about the fence ordinance? Nope. Council, you have any comments you want to make? All right. Well, we'll close that one and we'll move on over to the green space ordinance. Seemed like planning and zoning's recommendation from the meeting was that they were in agreement with that ordinance. Does anyone else have any issues out in the public that would like to speak about that? No comments on the green space ordinance? Okay. Well, we'll close the public hearing at, about to say 8. We'll close it at 7:02 p.m. and we will go back to our regular agenda. Let me find where I put that. All right, so now we'll move on to reports from council. Ed Waters.
I just wanted to thank Chief Donaldson. He goes out of his way many times for things, and one little small thing he does is children. Home Depot every Saturday, the first Saturday of every month, has a children's workshop where you might put together a birdhouse or a swing set, or this last Saturday it was a Caterpillar tractor. And there was the chief mingling with the kids. They really love that. There's probably 75 or 100 children. So it just gives another perspective to these little kids that there are nice police officers, and we have some. So, Chief, I thank you for that.
Thank you, Ed. Rick Fisher?
I'm going to kind of like Ed. I'm going to put out a shout out to Chief Donaldson and the entire police department, and especially Officer Ramirez. You guys pulled off a fantastic event 2 weeks ago with the Fall Festival, especially up against adverse conditions with the weather, moving it all inside at the last minute. I think even with doing that, it looks like we still had a phenomenal turnout, and we were supposed to be doing, there was supposed to be a car show that Saturday also, but with the weather it was postponed until this past Saturday. And again, Officer Ramirez and the rest of the PD were out there for the car show, just out there in the east parking lot. Well, we'd have about 15 cars out there, 16, something like that. Good turnout, ideal weather. A lot of kids showed up, handing out candy to the kids, and some of the adults acting like kids. Guilty. Thank you guys so much for doing that. And just one thing for Parks Committee, I don't see Mary here. Oh, there you are. Okay, you'll have to tell me, I missed the work dates, you'll have to come up and talk about that, but the next meeting for Parks will be November 19th, 9 o'clock over at Lemire, the new coffee place over here. And it's going to be discussing all of the Christmas lighting and all the Christmas stuff coming up. So if anybody wants to come to that and get a good cup of coffee, come on by.
All right, Rick. Thank you. Jeff Terrell?
Only thing I really have is to kind of reiterate what Rick said about the festival. I know Officer Ramirez, she worked really hard at that. I worked with her on a couple things. And so if you see her on the island, just make sure you tell her thank you, because I know she worked really hard on that, and it seemed like it worked out. Well, I had to work, so I wasn't able to be there, but it sounded like it was a good turnout. Everything worked out well. So that's all I have.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. Susan Baker?
No comments today. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, Susan. Mayor Pro Tem Amanda Family?
I don't have any updates, thanks.
No? All right. I'll make one more announcement, and then I'll be quiet. Some of you may have seen the guys working on the bridge. They were doing an assessment of that bridge because that project has started. Most of you know that we're going to be doing a bridge project. That was a bond project. Well, they sent their guys out today, and they were doing an assessment of that bridge. I don't know what all they're going to do with that assessment, but they're gathering information and starting to look at rebuilding that bridge. I don't know if Mike's heard anything about that yet. I haven't got any emails about it, but I did see them out there working, so they might be out there again tomorrow. Just nice to see that project starting to go and gather information and get some traction. That's really all I have. I mean, I got the same feelings. I went to the thing over at Stewart, and it was man, it turned out to be a huge crowd. I can't imagine if it was outdoors. Might have had to have traffic control over there, but she did a wonderful job, and I appreciate our PD also. So we will move on to Police Chief David Donaldson.
So the Fall Festival was a big hit. When we started, Julie and Tasha took this thing and it exploded. It was a lot of work after hours. I commend them on their efforts. They did an excellent job. And none of this could have been done without our sponsors, our business owners, our local business owners, Home Depot, Target. I don't want to leave anybody out, but the staff, council, y'all showed up and helped. Everybody worked as a team. And from my perspective, it was not only excellent for the turnout and raised good money, but it was the family togetherness that everybody's building this, doing this together, because we got help from people we didn't even plan on helping, and I'm glad they did, because we weren't prepared because it got that big that fast. The car show was a big hit. A lot of good-looking cars out there. I just can't say enough about Tasha and Julie Criddle, my admin assistant, for doing this. And next council, we've got something special going. There'll be the amount of money raised, and we're going to present that with council, the people that were out there working, and try to get the business owners and the donors, vendors, everybody come up with a picture. That's the plan. Tasha's in training this following next week, so when she comes back, we'll get together and we'll get it on the agenda, however we need to do it. Excellent turnout. I appreciate everybody's help that participated. Some of y'all went above and beyond. We had a scooter out there. Jay's limping around out there. I mean, it was a good deal. Moving on to stats. For the month of October, we had 794 calls for service and self-initiated calls. 42% of them were business checks. 33% of them were residential checks. 14% were traffic offenses. And the other 13% was miscellaneous calls, assisting other agencies with calls and stuff like that. That's all I have.
All right. Thank you, Chief. We'll move on to Mike Cram.
I have nothing to report tonight.
Okay. So if you're not going to report anything. I'm going to mention one more thing. We almost forgot about this. Cheryl, why didn't you remind me? Have we announced the winners of the balcony contest yet? When are we going to do that? Is Teresa going to put that out? When is she going to put that out?
When she finds out who did what balcony is first place.
Okay. All right. So we will announce that soon, coming soon, and Teresa will put that out there. But we have concluded that we had how many voters? 90 plus voters. So thanks for getting out and voting. That was a fun project. Thank you again, Cheryl, for putting that together. We will move on to committee reports, roads and drainage.
Evening. We are, our next project is still Narcissus. Nothing has changed there. We're just waiting for Colliers to do some tweaks, which they have promised to come to us with in November. So if we're lucky, we may have something happening before Christmas, but it could be January. And the next road is still going to be the bridge, from Birch to Forest, because we want to get that one done before they do the bridge, so we don't have traffic jam everywhere. That's it.
Hey, Thomas, I got a question. So on the approach on the other side, are we going to do anything with that at the same time too, or is that approach fine?
Yeah, that will happen at the same time as the bridge.
Okay.
Because there's like 3 feet of asphalt, right?
Yeah, I just didn't know. We always mention this side to Birch, this side to Birch, but...
No, it includes the approaches on both sides.
Okay. Thank you for that.
In the meantime, we are doing a lot of maintenance work where, Mike is having that organized. And then we are looking at an additional drainage issue on Narcissus nearby Rick, and another one over by Hawthorne going into Deep Hole.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Thomas. Parks Committee?
Hello, good evening. Rick already pretty much said we are moving our meeting this month back 1 week, so the 19th, and we are meeting at Lemaire just to, just have a nice cup of coffee as we discuss and support our local coffee shop. We're discussing the Christmas light contest. The Parks Committee would like to host that again this holiday season. So it'll be where all the community decorate your homes, and then our committee will go around and judge, so we'll get the specific dates. We'll send a Teresa flyer so she can post that for y'all. So that's what we're talking about. And then we'll also be working on decorating the parks with bows like we did last year, changing the colors up this year. So our committee is going to work on that this month, and then working on the front of the clubhouse this week to get a little fall color before the Thanksgiving lunch, which is next Saturday. So make sure y'all buy tickets and come to that and support Civic Club. That's all I got.
Nothing at this time.
Evening, Mayor and Council. As you probably know, there was a public hearing. Planning and Zoning Commission had a public hearing on October 22nd. We heard quite a lot on the noise ordinance. Most of the rhetoric was against raising. There may have been some confusion about some of the hours. I believe, Mayor, I talked with you, and there may have been a typo about the hours changing from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m., raising that from 50 to 70. I don't know. But based upon the information we had at hand and the input that we had from the public on the noise ordinance, the commission voted and sent forth a recommendation on the noise ordinance to recommend not making any changes at this time based upon the information that we had at the time. In that public hearing, there was also review about the fence ordinance. There were a few people that came forward, didn't see
Darlene Pettit came forth, I think, that night. Several other people also. There may have been some confusion about kind of what the ordinance was, based upon the fact that I think I brought forth the issues the city has trying to measure in a yard that they don't have access to. I think the biggest concern, though, was when you had a bulkhead on one property and no bulkhead on the other, and the person that's putting up the fence doesn't have the bulkhead, and there's a major difference in the height, that privacy is not gained. Or if the other person puts up one, then they have a much higher fence. So I think there needs to be some more discussion about the fence ordinance, because I can understand where the city's having difficulty getting the proper measurements and getting the right fence height. So, but based upon the information that we had presented to us, the Planning and Zoning Commission put forth a recommendation to recommend not changing that ordinance. Third item was the green space ordinance. I think it was pretty straightforward. There was a minor change. I don't think too many people, if anybody, spoke about that, and Planning and Zoning Commission put forth a recommendation to change that ordinance for City Council. In our meeting, there was also a plat approval that was brought forth for Marina Bay Harbor Edition. That plat approval was approved. So we also approved our minutes. Any questions from the council or mayor?
I just want to say thank you for how you managed that last P&Z meeting. It was a lot, and I understand between you and Dick, you guys did a great job in handling that, so thank you.
Well, thank you. Also, while I'm up here, Zoning Board of Adjustments, no recent activity to report to the mayor of the city council. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll reiterate Amanda's comments. Thank you for handling that. I looked at the video. I thought you did a very professional job of that, both of you guys, so thank you. We will move on to Economic Development Corporation.
Yeah, thanks to Planning and Zoning for approving the marinas replat. That actually is helping the city by keeping the check registry at the marina for both the service and for the store to stay in Clear Lake Shores, something Kima's been pushing hard to get that way. So that's good. Other than that, for EDC, we don't really have that much going on other than the boat ramp, where we are putting forward, helping with the cash flow there before we get the money back from the state and, state and federal funds. Until we get that money back, we don't really have the economy to do very much. We are under consideration for doing something for the marina. They have asked for some consideration for some permit fees that we are considering. Other than that, you heard the meeting that we had here earlier today with a recommendation. Do I need to repeat what that was, or do you have it?
For you to repeat it, because all our council may not have been here, so I think they need to hear that.
We had 5 applicants, and the recommendation from the EDC is Ronnie Richards, John Hildebrand, both of them incumbents, Patrick McAndrew, and Craig Halsey.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Thomas. Everybody got that recommendation if they wanted to take notes? All right. We will move on to the Civic Club. See, that was a good strategy. Just sit right by the podium, huh?
I know. I don't have to go very far. It's great. Okay, Civic Club. We are gearing up for our Thanksgiving dinner next Saturday, November 15th. You can come and eat in. Darlene has been working really hard, along with Barbara and Louise, to clean the kitchen. They have been scrubbing and scrubbing and scrubbing, and just getting organized for that whole thing. You can see all the boxes back there. So plates are $15 for members, $20 for non-members, and you can get a to-go box if you want. We also need volunteers. I went in tonight and I volunteered to tear bread. But we need people to basically peel and chop and dice and cook. So Charlotte printed up some volunteer forms. If you haven't gone onto the website, you can go onto Facebook or the Clear Lake Shores Civic Club.org website, which is up to date. Thank you. And you can sign up there too. But feel free to take one of these before you leave and come sign up for our Thanksgiving Day dinner. And that will be from 11 to 1, and you can pay at the door, cash, check, or card. We take all kinds of money. Other things that we have the tree lighting on November 30th. Santa will be here. I talked to Mrs. Claus today. She sounded just like Mrs. Claus should.
What time is that event?
The pictures will be from 5 to 6, and in here. We're going to do pictures in here rather than outside because last year with the lighting it was hard. So we're going to do pictures in here, and that way if the weather's bad we can still do pictures with Santa. He is a professional Santa with a real Santa beard. They have a whole organization like that in Texas. They're professional Santas with beards. I think they're, well, I don't know. Maybe. But line up for the parade. The golf cart parade will be at 5:30, and then the parade will start at 6. Santa's going to ride with the parade, which I forgot to tell him. And then the tree lighting will be at 6:30, and we will have cookies and cocoa to give out, and we will take donations for cookies and donations for the food bank and Toys for Tots. So, and then in December we also have the annual progressive that we have for the adult progressive party that goes from house to house, and Priscilla's working on that, and Sean, I think, are working on that to figure out houses and stuff. So, thank you. I have my notes.
Better warn the dogs.
Okay, moving on, we'll move on to public comments. At this time, any person with city-related business may speak to the City Council if the topic of discussion is related to an item on the agenda. The comments may be made now or at the time the agenda item is discussed. If the topic of discussion is not related to an item on the agenda, the City Council cannot deliberate or take any action at this time. Comments from the public should be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes per individual. No yielding of time will be permitted. Would anyone like to address the City Council? Having none, we'll close the public comments. We'll move on to item number 10, consent agenda. Item A, check register. Item B, council meeting minutes. And C, waterfront transfer. We have anything we would like to make a motion to do on that item? So are you going to speak about the waterfront transfer?
Yes, sir. Mike Duncan, 225 Queen Road. I'm new to the community, moved in August, so it's nice to meet everybody. I don't know what the procedure's about as far as the waterfront transfer. I'm just trying to purchase it. So do I need a motion that I would like that, or is that in?
No, that's up to the City Council to make those motions.
Okay.
You're not allowed to make any motions.
Okay.
But they have all the information, and they will be making a motion to either approve or disapprove that.
Thank you. I
Yep.
appreciate it.
No problem. Do we have any motions on the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda items A, B, and C with the correction made to item B in the minutes from new business from the previous meeting, that the motion for the tasers was actually passed and not tabled.
Okay, got a motion from Rick. Got a second?
I'll second that.
We got a second from Ed. Is there any discussion on that item? Okay, all in favor? Okay, motion passes unanimous. We'll move on to old business. Item 11, discussion of possible action may be taken on the following items. A, discussion of possible action to approve the second of two readings on Resolution 2025-09, approving expenditures for CLS EDC Shell Bottom Park Boat Ramp Project. This is the second reading. We'll turn that over to City Administrator Mike.
So I think this is probably better handled by the city attorney, as this is a kind of a perfunctory thing that we have to do based on the fact that we are expending more than $10,000 worth of EDC funds.
That's correct. That's the state law, that if you're going to spend more than $10,000 on any EDC project, that the council needs to approve a resolution, and it has to be at two different public meetings, has to pass both particular ones. It's already passed the first meeting. This is the second reading, and ask that you pass this so we can go forward with that project.
Hearing that, do we have any motions on that item?
I'll move to approve Resolution 2025-08, correct?
It's actually
It's
09.
09. Okay. It's
Typo,
09.
sorry about that.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, you got a motion by Amanda, got a second by Rick. Is there any discussion about that item? All in favor? Okay, motion passes unanimous. We'll move on to item 12, new business. Discussion and possible action may be taken on the following items. Consideration and possible action to award the bid, discuss and act on an agreement with the most appropriate qualified responsible bidder pursuant to the Chapter 252 of the Texas Local Government Code for the Clear Lake Shores Shell Bottom Boat Ramp Improvement Project, and authorize the mayor and or city administrator to execute all necessary documents. So I would request that this particular motion needs to be made in a certain way. We haven't made any motions like that. I want to make sure that we get legal counsel on doing that, so everyone knows how to make these motions, whichever direction we decide to go. And so I would like to recess into executive session to discuss that momentarily, and then come back to the meeting. So we will recess at...
Thompson under 551.071.
I'm making that announcement under 551.071. We will recess into executive session at 7:27, and we will be back. Now,
time, or did we have to go back and ask for additional documents from either of those bidders? Because, let me preface this by saying, because the state law says if we choose not to go with the lowest bidder, there has to be a reason for that. And I'm trying to figure out, because the bids were close, and so what does that differentiate? I mean, is there a differentiating factor? Because if we didn't have all your documents in, that could potentially exclude you. And so I'm trying to figure out and understand, because I was handed this tonight, and my question is this something that should have been included in the bid?
So it should have been included. No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. But no problem. So I'm a little surprised that you're saying Marcus never reached out to you, because there was an email trail from Marcus to you saying you are the lowest bidder, and now we need you to provide these items. And that was some of this with your contractors and whomever. And at that point, I believe you did fill it out, and you put all of your healthcare stuff in there that we have in the packet. And then this, I'm just being totally transparent when I let council know I got this later. After we met, I had already got his recommendation letter when you turned this in. Okay, so I just wanted everyone to know how the documents came in, because that's how they came in. So I don't know what conversations you guys had in between there, because that was supposed to be done with you and him only. It wasn't supposed to include us. That's who bid the job out for us. So we wouldn't know any of that. The only thing we knew was he contacted me and said, we have a low bidder, and I have sent this information for request to him. And my only comment at that point was, and that was a phone conversation, my only comment at that point was, how many other bidders did you send it to? Because we knew he was going to have to recommend who we needed to look at, whether it be 1 through 5, 1 through 6, 2 through 4, all of that. So I'm not trying to get you in trouble in any way. I'm just trying to let the council know that came in as a later document. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, so Amanda, I can give you complete context for that. So that document is a qualifications packet, I guess, developed by some civil and engineering organization. That request didn't come in until a week after the bids were turned in.
But was it part of the original RFP? That's the other thing. I don't have the original RFP, so I feel like I don't have all the information here.
So the RFP did, and I don't have it in front of me, forgive me, but the RFP didn't mention it, but it said by request only.
Okay.
So there was no indication that should have been turned in as the RFP response.
Okay. Not with the bid, no.
Not with the bid. The only thing that was required was the bid form, bid bond, and there was an alternate, and that was it. That's all that was turned in. And the document that you're referencing right now, that was an additional document that Marcus had asked me for after reviewing what I had already sent. And the timeline of that, when I initially got the first request for qualifications, it was about, I think, a 2-day turnaround or so, just because I had to get the time to assemble it all. It was quite a bit of information I had to put together. And then once he saw it, he said, that's when he called me that I referenced earlier, and asked me, hey, what's going on here? Can you provide some marine experience? I said, well, one of my primary subcontractors has a lot of marine experience. Can I do something for them? To which he said yes, and that's when that document came in. And that turnaround was less than 24 hours.
So the information I got from Marcus was the week before. So I had called Mike and said, hey, Marcus called, said he sent some information to Jesse and one other contractor, and those are the two he's looking at that I think he wants to bring to the city. So we're going to discuss those two and make sure that's who he's bringing so we can bring them to council. And at that time, it was a week ago last Friday that he told me on the phone, I requested this information because we had a meeting set up, I believe, Christy, the week before. And he didn't have any of the information back from you or the other guy yet. And so once he got what he got after the Friday deadline, he said he gave you guys a Friday deadline, he scheduled a meeting with us. And we had that meeting last Thursday. And that's the morning that he talked to you when he was on his way to that meeting. So there were two, Amanda, to answer your question, there were two different sets of documents. They all had to give some of this in the beginning, and then once Marcus decided who he's going to send this stuff to, that's when the second set went out. And I'll have to go look at my email. I think I got that after the letter you sent to City Council at 5:40 in the evening. So I got that after that.
Yeah, so I received the request on 10/17, which I believe might have been a Friday. Yeah, and I turned in my packet on 10/22. So that request came in, I mean, it was pretty late in the afternoon. Turned it in within, I mean, pretty much 2.5 business days, roughly. Got another, sorry, I wasn't prepared for this, so I'm kind of winging it.
I'm clear now, Jesse. I understand. I'm good.
I reached out to them was that last Wednesday? I think it was, just asking about the status, and that I had only received a request to send qualifications, not received a phone call or any other correspondence at that point, and then that was on Wednesday of last week, and that's when Marcus, I think, called me, and then that following day was when I sent the information for one of my primary subcontractors.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Jesse about this project? I mean, he's already on the microphone. Yeah, I mean, in general, we're discussing, but if anybody has anything for him.
No, you brought up an interesting point there about using a general contractor for a house and using all the subs. But as a general contractor, how many projects like this involving marine, boat, anything like that have you done in the past?
0.
Okay. You also said that that's only about 40%. The actual boat ramp and pier and everything is about 40%, and the rest of it is all going to be concrete work and everything like that. And you said you have experience in that?
Every day.
Well, then my question is, why didn't you put that as in the Schedule B here for previous experience with similar projects? Everything you've got in here is interior remodeling. There's nothing in here about any kind of concrete work or parking lots or anything.
Not all of it. I mean, inherently, construction has different components. So if you're looking for just concrete, I can name those projects as well. I mean, I don't...
Well, I just thought it was a little weird that, they wanted, the request in here was for similar projects. And I don't know, I'm having a hard time figuring out how, an interior renovation would have anything to do with, a boat ramp or, concrete or, anything like that.
Okay, so let me ask this question. In your mind, what is complicated about the concrete and the pier? That would make it more challenging than, say, let's just say, installing a linear accelerator in a hospital.
You're talking apples and oranges there.
But that's kind of my point. Is I've done very complicated projects that require intensive technical experience. I guess I'm having trouble understanding from my perspective. You've got a contractor who has a lot of commercial experience, right? Number one. You have a resident who's personally and emotionally invested in the project. And then third, the bid is lower than anyone else. I honestly didn't expect that. I wanted to bid it just to see where we are, because perhaps maybe in the future we might do more marine projects. I've been asked several times in the past to bid marine projects. I've always passed on them. I looked at this as maybe my opportunity to launch that side of a business arm. And what better place to start than right here in my own backyard? I mean, I understand what you're saying, Rick. I get it. I understand. But, I mean, there's not going to be very many contractors as invested in this project as I am. I mean, this is my backyard. This is where I live. No, I think I've covered it all. I sent you all an email, and thank you for hearing me out. I do appreciate it and your consideration. And one way or the other, I know you'll do what's best for the city, and I trust you all to do that. So thank you.
All right. So we made a motion to discuss. Is there any more questions or any more discussion on this item? Having none, do we have any motions on this item?
I'll move to go with the lowest bid.
Let's state the contractor and state the amount of the bid.
Gotcha.
and then
I
state
will
whether you
move
wanna do
to
the-
go with the lowest bid from Bay Shore at $784,676.98.
And then do you want to also do the lighting that's at the add-on?
Yes, with the add-on lighting at $11,500.
Okay, we have a motion from Amanda. Do we have a second?
If there's no second, it dies for lack of a second.
Guys, from the lack of a second.
Do we have a second?
Nope.
Okay, so that motion dies. Do we have any other motions? Do we have any other motions on this item?
I'll make a motion to reject the lowest bid of Bay Shore Construction as non-responsible due to lack of relevant experience with replacing a boat ramp and award contract to Texas Gulf Coast Construction as the lowest and best responsible bidder in the amount of $791,721.40.
Okay, we have a,
Do you also want the alternate bid for
Yeah,
lighting?
plus the alternate bid for lighting for the $17,868.75.
okay. All right, so we have a motion from Jeff. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a second by Rick. Do we have any discussion on that motion? No discussion? Okay, all in favor? Okay, motion passes 4-1.
Opposed.
I didn't forget you.
Thank you.
I did that one time. I won't do that again. Okay. Moving on to the next item, we will go to item B, appoint one representative and one alternate to the Houston Galveston Area Council for 2026 General Assembly. I know this is under my name. Who is on that right now? Amanda, you're the main one, correct?
I thought we appointed Susan as the alternate after Alex.
Did we appoint you, Susan? Okay, so do we have a motion to reappoint Susan?
No, we need one and the alternate. So I'm happy to stay on. Again, it's one meeting a year, so.
Okay.
So I will move. Are you good with being the alternate? So I'll move to appoint myself and Susan as the alternate to the Houston Galveston Area Council for 2026 General Assembly.
Okay, we have a motion by Amanda.
I'll second.
We have a second by Jeff. Is there any discussion on that appointment? Okay, all in favor? Okay, motion passes unanimous. We will move down to item C, review Economic Development Corporation EDC applicants and recommendations from the current EDC board and appoint 4 members to the board of directors, 3 terms to expire October 31st, 2027, and 1 term to expire October 31st, 2026. Remember, whoever you appoint to the Mike Ponds, that's only for a portion of a term. So make sure when you make your motion, you make that motion with that wording, okay?
To fill an unexpired term?
Yes.
For him.
Yeah, just to fill an unexpired term for that one person. So you need to designate who that appointee is going to be individually. The others will fill a full term.
All right, well, to it. I'll make a motion that for the EDC that we appoint John Hildebrandt, Patrick McNew, Keeman, I'm not even going to try to pronounce your last name, I do apologize, for the 3 open positions, and then Craig Hilsey for the 1 year for Mike Ponza stepping down.
I'll second that.
Okay, we got a second by Ed. Is there any discussion on this item? Any discussion, Ed? You got your microphone.
So the reason I, excuse me, the reason we held off on presenting the fee schedule with the agenda was because I wanted to get some feedback from contractors on what our fees were. We have some of those on the island, so I asked Angie to sit with contractors who do work on the island, you know, with relevant frequency, and discuss the fee schedule they currently have to see if they believe it's fair, if it's lower, is it comparative to other cities that they work in, that kind of thing. And what we found out was we're in line with everybody else. So there wasn't a need for us to go and make big changes to that. The other reason I was delaying bringing it forward was I've been discussing with the fire marshal how to go about incorporating the business registrations that we now require the businesses to do every January, that we haven't really followed up on for years, how to incorporate those with annual fire marshal inspections so that we can basically kill both of those birds with one stone. And we're still working on that and the platform for that, but that would be something, if there's an amendment or an addition of any kind that needs to be coming to the fee schedule, that can be something that we can consider on its own at a later date when Tommy and I finish working out those details and bring something to council to consider.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for excluding me in those comments. I didn't need to be part of that conversation as a contractor, so I appreciate that. And I mean that sincerely. Do we have a motion on the fee schedule?
I'll make a motion we approve the city fee schedule for fiscal year 26.
Okay. Got a motion by Jeff? Got a second by...
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Motion passes unanimous this time. All right. We will adjourn the meeting at